Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Man United Agenda, the Aftermath Show. And sitting pretty in third, another 3 points, another win on the board. And happy days, happy days. And football is coming thick and fast once again. We play again on Wednesday. So hopefully the boys can do the business and we keep the momentum going. Rebel, how are you, kind sir?
Good. I'm enjoying the football at the moment. Obviously, we're going very well. I suppose the only disappointing thing is after Wednesday, we do have a small bit of a break, unfortunately, until our next game. So I suppose that's the only gripe that I have at the moment is we'll have to wait another 10 days after that game.
I know. That's the issue with being out of certain competitions so early on. And obviously the last time we had a bit of an extended break was the West Ham game, and it showed. It showed. So hopefully the team aren't going on holidays and whatnot, and they are actually getting their business together on the training field during that time. Chat, big up yourself, big up Iron Titanium. How you doing? How you doing? Steph, big up yourself. You're real and rebel. It's just us two tonight. It's just us two tonight. With that being said, Mr. B, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Wherever you are. Yeah. Less said about that, the better. And Andrew, big up yourself. Hello, Andrew. Of course, always we get your player ratings in. Lemons a 6, Yarrow a 2. Ooh. Shaw a 3, Maguire a 5, Delo a 3, Mainoo a 4, Cass 5, Bruno 4, Cunha 4, and Bumo 4, Shesko 5, and Maz 5. Yeah, okay, swiftly on. Good timing. Rebel. Obviously, we've got our thoughts in column, and Mr. B, we've spoken about the game. What about you? How do you feel about yesterday's performance?
Yeah, I suppose just to kind of be full and transparent, I missed the first 15 minutes because I was still in transit during the start of the game. And obviously, I asked in the WhatsApp what happened with the goal. And I got an explanation. And I've since seen said goal. But obviously, in the first half, things didn't quite function the way we'd have liked it. But you got to look at that second half. I know there was controversy around the red card penalty. At the end of the day, there's people that have played the game at the highest level that have said, yes, it was a red card, and they believe it was a penalty. Did Cunha go down handy? More than likely he did. But does it matter if there's a foul committed? Absolutely not. Nope. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes then tucked away that well. But I'm going to start calling him my striker, Benjamin Sesko. The man is absolutely on a tear at the moment. You can say it's the quality of the ball that's going in. You can say that Manchester United as a club have started to function as a unit. Is there still problems there? Of course there is, but that doesn't matter. You're getting 3 points on the board. So we have to take that for what it is. And look, the results speak for themselves. The only dropped points was a draw to West Ham.
Yeah.
We are still undefeated in the calendar year 2026 in the Premier League. The only club to remain in that coveted status. Is it going to last the rest of the season? Possibly. More than likely not. But when it happens, it happens. We're not going to throw baby out of bathwater over one single result, are we? But I suppose just to kind of preempt the question, the reason why we're talking about Carrick, Mr. Williams, is because Fabrizio Romano, on the back of yesterday's result, stated that internally, it is believed that Carrick is playing himself into a coveted position where he's now been highly considered towards getting the job. And we will get to that in due course. But in terms of the game yesterday, I think it's absolutely refreshing because you probably watched Arsenal and Chelsea later on that evening. And we had a big discussion all last season about one area of the pitch. One that is now occupied by a certain Belgian who hasn't done anything catastrophic, is solid, goes about his business, and plays the game of football. But it just shows how much of a difference people
Definitely.
putting you in the fire day in, day out, in, week out makes. Because I think you'll agree with me, Sanchez is bloody awful.
Yeah. Yo, like I think because I don't know if you had the comms on for the Arsenal Chelsea game, and the amount of times Gary Neville kept on mentioning his name, and he's a calamity. He's a calamity waiting to happen, and you're bang on. You know, we've got Lemons in goal now. The amount of times and the amount of shows we spent talking about Onana and the mistakes he made, and that he had got poppadom hands and brittle, everything going against us, and it always felt that we were a goal down or two going into the game. With Lemons and goal, long distance shots, he gets his whole body behind him. That's one thing I don't think I've seen ever mentioned. But the amount of times he's not having to stretch or anything like that for these long distance shots that used to just go through Onana like he was a hologram. Honestly, he just takes them in. It's really, really comforting. So with that, it just shows confidence and gives that belief to the back line. And I think that has happened this season. We're not conceding as many goals. A few silly mistakes every now and then, but every team has them. Every team has them. But nowhere near as much as what we had last season.
Absolutely. And I think it kind of has settled the back four as well. Well, back five as it was when Ruben was there, but we won't talk about that again. But like, you don't see our defenders as panicked because they're kind of going, well, one or two things is going to happen. He's either, if he punches it, it's going to go in a certain direction away from the play. If he catches it, he catches it. We don't have to be worried. And they're settled down and they're kind of functioning as a back line. It's just amazing to watch. Now, obviously, we still have errors, but they're understandable errors. Like, no goalkeeper, unless they are programmed by AI and are an absolute cyborg, is going to be absolutely perfect week in, week out. And obviously, I think you heard the old adage before. If the spine of your team is solid, then we're obviously going to benefit going forward. Mr. POTUS, I see that out of the corner of my eye. No, please God, no, absolutely not, never again.
No, okay, I agree with that. Back three, it's not happening. It's not happening. Eddie, hello, kind sir. Big up yourself. How you doing? Who else is here? The comments are going today. We deserve better. Hello. Vinny, hello. Jessica Miller, WWE, from here from the phone. Hello. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. But let's talk about the topic in the title. Has Carrick done enough? So when Carrick first came through the door, and he, blew the doors off, to be fair, with the Arsenal Man City results, there was a lot of kind of like, he should get the job now, he should be given the opportunity at least, he should be given an interview, etc. My stance was, at the end of the season, he should get an interview at least, or give him the opportunity to give him an interview. As time's gone by, yeah, we're getting the results, absolutely. But I will say this, I'm not fully impressed with the way we're playing. So right now, I am more leaning to not wanting Carrick to be the manager. So I don't know if that might come as a surprise. I think he's done brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. But I still think that the way we're playing isn't brilliant, if I'm going to be honest with you. But he's getting the points on the board, so that's ultimately the most important thing. And when it comes to the end of the season, we've got Champions League football. We probably won't care as much. But I don't want us to be fooled in thinking, oh, because of that, give him the job. No, I have my thoughts have changed the last couple of games, because Yeah, we've still got the same players. So let's not forget that. The same crap players, and my opinion won't change on that. But they're being played in positions that they're used to, so they're performing better. And new manager bounce, it is a thing, and it may be the case that it's happened with us. So I don't know what your thoughts are in regards to Carrick in terms of the full-time position.
Yeah, I suppose obviously we're both aware that there's going to be a big change in Manchester United Football Club in terms of playing personnel come the summer. There's going to be an overhaul of that central midfield. You're not going to have a serial Champions League winner in Casemiro minding the house next to Kobe Mainoo next season. You possibly might not have Bruno Fernandes, our most influential playmaker next season, depending on what his feelings in terms of the final stages of his career are, because he's coming to the end of challenging for the big trophies. So he might look to say, lads, I've been a great servant to you. I want to move while I still have a chance to win a trophy. If he believes he can do it with us, that will obviously change that narrative. But this is a slight bit of the negative rebel coming back here. Obviously, we had the feel-good factor way back when Manchester United appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to take over in a temporary capacity. And he had the great comeback against Paris Saint-Germain. And he did all these wonderful things in terms of 26 points in 30 and all the rest of it. But by the end of it, we were saying, where are the tactics? Where's the identity? Who has he improved? And all those questions came home to roost and were brought forward. Does Carrick deserve to be in the position he is right now and be left alone and kind of continue about his business to the end of the season? Yes, he does. He's done everything right. He's not like the Tottenham guy who's absolutely flopped out the door. Let him do his thing until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Are these conversations going to continue to come up about Michael Carrick if he keeps winning? Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
Fabrizio Romano is going to be tweeting every day. That gobshite that writes to the Sun is going to be tweeting every day. You know who I mean, Mr. Lockhurst.
Yeah.
Every single one of those media people are going to be using Manchester United Football Club to print headlines. Does he deserve to get the job if we get third place? Maybe. Do I think he should get the job? I'm not so sure. If the alternatives are Gareth Southgate's, are people akin to that, then absolutely you take Carrick every day. But if you have a chance to get somebody big, somebody transformational, you kind of have to risk it for the biscuit, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, we've taken those chances before. Maybe not so much on the next hot thing that's done well in the Eredivisie and Lisbon, but if you've got someone that is proven in Spain or is proven to the level of the former Paris Saint-Germain manager, then you have to kind of maybe be thinking about it. But do you dismiss Michael Carrick out of hand? No, you don't. You would be absolutely doing a disservice by saying that he deserves to be completely ruled out. You see where he finishes at the end of the season. You give him his PMDS. And you say, right, Michael Carrick, this is how long you've been in the role. We're now going to evaluate how you've performed, and we're going to see how many stages of the interview process we're going to get you through. And let's be fair about it. He's brought in a very good, solid coaching team. Holland in particular is the one that kind of stands out in that ticket for me, and someone that you have to kind of credit with maybe a lot of the stuff that we're seeing on the pitch, because he was seen as the man that pulled the strings at Chelsea. He pulled the strings, apparently, for Gareth Southgate's England, and that he was allegedly the real brains behind the outfit of getting ye to semi-finals of major championships. So you have to look at just everything beyond Michael Carrick in addition to Michael Carrick. The team that he's bringing to the table is as significant as the appointment, in my opinion, because it's a complete team effort in preparing the club going forward. But when I look at the managers that are available, there isn't a whole pile that you could say right now that we could get to walk in the door of us. We're not going to get Jurgen Klopp. We're not going to get Nigelsmann. We're not going to get, because every single one of them has a reason why we wouldn't be bringing them to Manchester United. Whether we feel that they're past it, whether we feel that it just wouldn't work because of their previous clubs. There's a lot of reasons why the managerial field is a bit thin at the moment. Look at what Chelsea appointed. Look at Tottenham. Look at the other clubs in the Premier League. We're all struggling to find someone that we believe is going to be top class. And I think it's that reason that we will continue to be looking at Michael Carrick.
So I think I agree with the point that you make in regards to I think we will go with Michael Carrick. And I absolutely think he needs to go through the same stages that anyone that's going to be interviewed goes through. I think he's earned that, even at this stage. Unless he completely fumbles the situation. I'm speaking with the assumption we've got Champions League football. I won't say otherwise. I think we've got it. I don't think as a United fan I will be told not to say that. But yeah, I might have egg on my face if that does not happen. But in regards to my thoughts now is I'm feeling a bit greedy. I'm feeling about getting, you heard the saying, get the best in class. Carrick's not best in class. I want us to go for players that are going to be Champions League elite ready players. And I want us to do that with a manager. So in terms of the pick of the bunch and who is available, we will have to see, because there's going to be a lot of things that change in and around that World Cup. People will want the Manchester United job, so they will give up certain positions. The only thing that did surprise me is Thomas Tuchel signing and extending for England longer. I didn't expect that, but we will be given names. There will be opportunities for people, and again, it's not fully cemented yet about this Champions League opportunity. As soon as it becomes official, Manchester United are in the Champions League, there will be managers, throwing their knickers at our front door and everything, trying to get in, because honestly, we are the biggest club in the world when it comes to manager position.
I'll throw a question to you now. Two things that might happen. I'm going to throw out the two hypotheses to you. You can get the manager that you dream of, but not necessarily the midfield transformation that you expected. Or you can get your number one targets in midfield. You can get those wing backs that we were looking for. And you can get that left or right winger that is the cherry on top, but keep the current managerial team. Which one makes more sense to you?
See, I've always believed I believe a manager is hugely important. I really do believe so. And I do believe that a really, really top tier manager can get the best out of crap. A top tier manager. The issue is we've had a load of crap, but not had a top tier manager for the longest of times. And when we have, they've been either washed or gone. Sir Alex was the last top tier manager. Since then, Jose was, at the end of it. But with what we've got and the improvements you've just offered, I would 100% right now take the improvements and keep Carrick. But I do think if we get a new manager in, we will still have this kind of window that I think that we're going to have, this fantasy window where we change the midfield, we get the wing backs that we need. It doesn't need a huge change. If Bruno goes, that might be an issue, and we might have to address that at a later point. But yeah, I don't think Carrick's not so bad where I would be annoyed if he stayed, if that makes sense.
Here's the other thing when you look at it. Next season, if we are in Champions League, which is looking highly likely that we are going to be now, we're going to need to bump up that squad because there's going to be massively amounts more in terms of games next season than there are this season. Because and imagine we'll be kind of going out there saying we're not getting knocked out in the first round of each of those two domestic cups next year because we got embarrassed last season and played the minimum amount of games that we could possibly play. But I want to go back to managers and take, because obviously the squad is going to be another discussion, and today's aftermath is about Michael Carrick. We took Eric Ten Hag when he was seen as the next boy up, the star pupil, the one that was going to replace Pep Guardiola at Man City, the one that was possibly in line for the Real Madrid job. He was being linked with every big job imaginable, and Manchester United pulled a coup and got him in. It didn't work out. Roll it forward a couple of years. Ruben Amorim, star boy in Lisbon, seen as again the next big thing, had half the clubs in the Premier League chasing him the season before we took him. And again, that potential didn't manifest in terms of Premier League acumen. And if you're looking at a manager again from outside the Premier League, you're going to have to build in that fail factor. We've had two of the top young managerial candidates in Europe where we appointed them fail at Manchester United Football Club. And you can't overlook, was that a managerial issue or was that a Manchester United issue?
Ten Hag, I agree with. I think that becomes stale, but again, my opinion on Ruben Amorim won't change. You know, there's fickle people that won't understand that Ruben Amorim wasn't bad. He was not bad, and the performances have only improved because of new manager bounce. You know, people that think otherwise, you're clueless. I'm sorry, but Ruben Amorim was not backed, so that's why it did not work. It did not work because United board ultimately failed him. So I don't want to fully rule out that going forward because there are really good managers out there that are of that same bracket, that same mode. But if they're not going to be backed, then there's no point in getting them in. So Ruben Amorim should not have been brought in if they weren't going to back him with this 3-4-3 system from the get-go fully. But yeah, the last two managers we've had like that, I don't want to see that for now. Because technically Carrick would fall under that bracket, apart from the fact that he's not come from abroad. He's here doing it. So he could be the shiny new toy. But I wouldn't mind seeing a seasoned manager come in now with Champions League football. I don't know what you think about that.
But so are you agreeing so that in the case of Manchester United Football Club, the manager that we bring in has to be playing some form of the 4-2-3-1 that we're kind of seeing, where we have your two centre backs, your two left and right back, your two central midfielders, your 10 ahead of them, your wide men in Mbeumo Cunha, would say, and your lead man then in Nasesco. Are we now married to that system? Because the majority of the players that we'll have next year, aka the front ones, all play to that system. And if we bring in the hot kid, we'll say, the one that's seen as the next Pep Guardiola, and we have to redesign and repurpose players into some sort of a, whatever his version of the three at the back system that Ruben played is, we're obviously then going to be looking at the same issues where players are going to say, well, I can't play that.
Ruben Amorim was a unique case, a very unique case. There's not many young managers out there that are playing free at the back. But good example, Fabregas at Como. If we had the opportunity to get Fabregas right now, he is falling exactly under that same mode of new shiny toy. But what he's done with Como and how he's managed to transform that team, he's had backing. and he's playing a 4-back at this moment in time. So I want the manager, and this is where Amarim failed, to be able to adapt and not be stubborn about it. He adapted and was stubborn and said, "Oh, I've only done this because of injuries. I'm gonna go back to my old system," and ultimately that lost him his job. But I do think, just for the sake of, I can't for my own mental health, not have a conversation similar with Onana. That Onana conversation's gone. I can't be having this conversation about 3 back, 4 back, 3 back, 3. Just keep it simple. Get someone that's going to play 4 back just to end that discussion. Like, ultimately, just end that discussion. I think. What do you think? Are you fully back in the camp of 4 at the back?
I don't ever see 3 at the back for us again, which is why the likes of an Oliver Glasner is never going to be our manager, because he doesn't play the system that we need to play. Like, we're looking at whatever about De Ligt, we don't know what's wrong with him. He may never again play football for us, depending on how bad his injury is, because they haven't told us the truth. But when you look at Manchester United Football Club, when you look at the players that we have, like, 3 at the back just got swallowed up in the Premier League. Like, how many clubs play it in Premier League football? And how many points are they on? It just didn't work. And you look at Liverpool when they were playing their best football. Did they ever play 3 centre-backs? No, they didn't. Manchester City, have they ever played 3 centre-backs playing their best football? No, they haven't. So the formula of being successful in the Premier League is there. You can do whatever you want in terms of the movement and having extra defenders in certain phases and whatever you want. But you do not go out lining out, playing 3 at the back and sacrificing your battleground, your central midfield. Like, there's obviously leagues that works in. Premier League is not one of them. Like, Crystal Palace are going to be getting rid of their 3 back at the back manager at the end of the season. The wheels have fallen off of Crystal Palace. And Oliver Glasner will not be their manager next year. And for our sake, and for banter's purposes, he'll probably end up in Tottenham. Because that's what they do. They appoint someone that will absolutely be the wrong fit for them. But I'm not going to go into that today. But Andrew's actually hitting the nail on the head there. The tempo that you play the game at, that is what the key is. So when we look to replace Casemiro, we're obviously not going to get a like-for-like replacement. That's not going to be possible. But you get someone in there that, combined with, whether it's Kobe Mainoo or not, that's yet to be discussed because his contract is still not finalised. And whoever then is ahead of them, they have to be able to kind of interact in the same way that you would have had with Casemiro in the team. Does that mean, is one player going to be enough? No, it's not, because you're going to be playing Champions League football, you're going to be playing Premier League football, and you're going to be playing cup games. So we're going to have to get multiple players in there that will add depth, because when you look at our bench at the moment, Ugarte is not at the level that we want him to be. He's not going to be a plug and play next season. Collier may or may not turn out to be decent in terms of a rotation option off the bench. But again, we can't kind of say for sure that will be the case. So that means now you're probably looking at a bit of a money ball effort. What did Casemiro give you defensively? What did Casemiro give you going forward in terms of your corners, your free kicks, everything like that? You might need to get 2 players to return you the same value that Casemiro gave you as a single player.
We need 3 players if we lose Bruno as well. So that's one aspect. But you've mentioned a lot of Casemiro there, which is fair, and obviously he's the one we know who's going. But I still have concerns about Kobe Mainoo. You know, I don't want him gone. I do not want him gone. I just don't think just yet he's ready to be a starting midfielder with whoever we get in. I think there's better I think, and I've said it before. I think there's definitely potential in him. 100% there's potential in him, but I just don't think he's the main guy. I think we can get better and then have him. But we're gonna, as you say, we're gonna be in so many competitions, so the game time's not gonna be a concern for me. And there'll be games where we can play Cobby with next midfielder. You know, Casemiro is a unique individual. You know, the amount of disrespect he's got in his career or towards the end of his career, we need to let's not forget how many Champions Leagues he's won, everything he did at Real Madrid, even when he came to us and what he's done for us. You know, tired. I've always said it's not always about tired legs, you know, but ultimately he's put in a shift for us. He's a passionate player, and he's got us so many clinch goals. Same with Maguire, but Casemiro gets us so many clinch goals. To replace that will be very, very hard because he's a very unique player. And I know we've been linked with Bruno G today in regards to the type of player that we're going to go for. I don't even think he's like Bruno G. I think Casemiro is in his own element. So I agree. There's going to have to be two players, three midfielders. You know, we all season we've been saying we need to get two midfielders in. I think we need three because I just don't think Mainoo is ready to take that mantle, especially when Casemiro goes.
Actually, interesting that you mentioned Bruno G. There's obviously going to be a lot of moving parts as to whether it's even possible to prize him from Newcastle Football Club. It depends on where they finish in league table and what happens there with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the curious part for me is, and again, we're getting this from your run-of-the-mill print merchants in the media, that Casemiro has allegedly handpicked him as the one that Manchester United should go looking at to replace him. There's two players at Newcastle, because Chat Sports mentioned the other one that Manchester United allegedly are interested in, the other one being Tonali. But it's always interesting when a player that's going outside the door, that's leaving your football club, is kind of going, do you know, boss, I know exactly who you should get. Get him.
Yeah, and he'll know obviously from his relations at the national level. He'll know, and they are close in terms of what they can do. I just think Casemiro is in his own element, and then you've got Bruno G, who's in like the next class below. But I'll take Bruno G. You know, first of all, Newcastle fans will not like it at all. Definitely not. But he's passionate. He's a passion player. You know, he's had a very good season as well in terms of goals and goal contributions as himself, which that's not normally his game. Which you would say that was like Casemiro. So I get it. I get the reason why he's labeled him as goal for him. Are you a fan of Bruno G yourself?
Absolutely. Couple of things in his favour. He's class, number one. Number two, he does it in the Prem. He does it in the league that we operate in.
Mm-hmm.
He plays against all the big names in the other teams. He plays against City's best, Arsenal's best, Chelsea's best, Liverpool's best. He operates against all these teams.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at Newcastle Football Club, they've reached a certain point on Eddie Howe. They are not advancing any further. That is the peak that they are currently. So to advance further, they are going to have to kind of reevaluate themselves and redo themselves. Is it likely that Newcastle sell them? That is a question that Mr. Portis is posing, and we're going to have to pay up if we want them. Like, let's be under no illusions here. If Newcastle are going to get rid of a top quality central midfielder, you are going to pay through your nose for those players.
No, not if they don't get Champions League. Honestly, all these players will have clauses, and it'll be down to us to put the pressure on these clubs because we are the bigger club.
We are the bigger club, but bear in mind who owns Newcastle Football Club. They are filthy rich.
You say
they
that
have no need for money.
They still have to comply by the rules. You know, they didn't want to let go of Elliot Anderson, and they had to let him go under similar circumstances. They had to let go of what's his name? Oh no,
Forest, wasn't it?
I'm thinking of Villa. I'm thinking of Villa are also in the same way. They got Ramsey from Villa, but similar. These two clubs, they're the two that have got money behind them, but for whatever reason, they get themselves in these silly little holes where they don't mess up financially because they don't have the revenue that we have behind them. It's like they've cheated. You know, when I don't know if you play Football Manager and you can tick that thing where it says get takeover, but if you've not got the revenue behind you, it doesn't mean anything. So it'd be
Here's a
keen.
question for you. So, in that case, if it was, let's talk Football Manager type transfer deal here. If Manchester United rocked down to Geordie Shore tomorrow morning and said, we want Bruno, we want Tonali, and we want Hall, are you taking all those three players, number one, and would you burn your entire budget on them?
On all three of those?
Yeah.
It would massively improve us. Like, massively improve us. No, because I still think we need more. I still think we need we need a winger for starters. We definitely need a winger. That's one thing for certain. But I'd be happy not to take Hall, and I'll take Denali and Bruno G. That's for certain. That is for certain. Let me have a look at the comments, people. How are we doing? I can't see Newcastle selling those players to us. They're not gonna want to. They're not gonna want to, Steph. But if they don't get Champions League football, you know, Eddie Howe might be out the door, and then there might be an exodus of certain players because for whatever reason that there seems to be this bond between the players and Eddie Howe, but I don't see that lasting once Eddie Howe goes out the door. And Andrew agrees with you in regards to, I think, the criteria that you said about Bruno G, Prem proven, and I absolutely agree. I love Bruno G. I really would. And 16 watching, if you've not done so already, please smash a like. We really do appreciate it. It is the aftermath. Yeah, we love the show. Always talking the business after the game. Vinny, that's the $1 million man, used to say everything's got a place, so it's easy to get someone if we want them. That's true. That is true. I do wish it was like FIFA and FM where you could assign anyone and not have any issues with any PSR rulings because of the fact that you're not playing the save for 10 seasons long. I'd be happy with Anderson and Hackney in midfield plus Van der Ven if he's available. I would love Van der Ven as well. I would love Van der Ven.
There's an interesting side story to Van der Ven. And as you know, Dermot appears with Mr. B on a Friday night on a regular basis. You've had the opportunity to be on live with him multiple times as well. Very proud Irish Tottenham Hotspur fan. But it's believed that there's a clause that the astute agent Mickey Van der Ven inserted in the absolutely outrageous possibility that Tottenham Hotspur got relegated. Apparently, he can leave for somewhere between 30 and 40 million.
Good. If that happens, which I think they get relegated, by the way. I think they get relegated. If that happens, we have to get him. We have to get him. Like, it's not even a question. We have to get him. I'm guessing you agree. You want Van der Ven, if for that money anyway. Like,
that's chicken feed for a centre back.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have to get him if that was the case. Just to touch upon what you mentioned earlier, then Shesko, because we've given Shesko some love, and well-deserved love. I just want to say some names and what could have been. Delap, Gyökeres, Watkins. So they were the three that we were highly linked with for pretty much most of the transfer window. And then we ended up with big Benjamin Shesko. Talk about dodging bullets. I don't think I thought all the others would have done so badly this season. And then Shesko shines so brightly. I don't know what your thoughts are about Benjamin Shesko. I know we all love him, and he's doing the business. But is he exceeding expectations, or is there still more that you think you can't wait to see?
I think it's important to talk to him in the confines of the three other names you mentioned. Roy Delap, would have been, sorry, Liam Delap would have been pretty much a bench player.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he just didn't hit the lights. And they brought in João Pedro. And he's the junior minister to that. Like, would Delap be a fine squad player? Yeah. But he wasn't going to be a main striker. Watkins.
Would he have been? Because I'm concerned he would have come in to be the main striker. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to talk about what our lot would have thought that signing would have meant, but in reality, if he was brought in as that backup striker,
it would have been very quickly not been the main striker. I agree. Yeah.
Watkins was seen as England's number 2. The heir apparent to Harry Kane's throne. Gave every reason why anybody should be pursuing him in the way he's performed in the previous seasons. And I think what you're looking at this season is probably a testament to where Villa are in terms of how stretched they are as a football club, playing on multiple fronts. And they are struggling because of it. Do I blame Watkins for that? No. Will Watkins be at Villa next season? No. I don't see it happening. I think he gets one last move, a chance to rejuvenate, because I think Villa, with their financial problems, are in big trouble. Where he ends up is anyone's guess. It could be somewhere like Bayern Munich, because apparently Vinny Company likes shopping in the Premier League, and imagine Harry Kane will have him clued into that. Gyökeres. Look, we're always going to give him banter because he's signed for one of our rivals. He's not a terrible striker. Are we going to laugh when he fluffs his lines?
He is a terrible striker.
Yeah.
He is a terrible striker.
Like, he's going to get those goals every season. Like, he's going to get 15, 20 goals. It's inevitable. Like, the way he plays his football, he's going to score goals. And, like, then in terms of Sesko, I think me confused with one of the other lads, because I don't believe I've ever said that Sesko should go out the door. I even said I was even looking for Sesko when we signed Rasmus Højlund all those years ago. So I think you might be confusing me with one of the other lads. But look, Sesko had his struggles. And we're now seeing why he had his struggles. It was the way that we went about our football. Because Gabriel Badalor had to eat his words on Benjamin Sesko. There's multiple pundits in the media that are eating their words and saying, okay, we were wrong about the boy. He is a Premier League striker. But you have to give him his flowers. Like, he sat through probably one of the most depressing periods of time that any young Premier League footballer could ever kind of go through. Brought in for a big price tag. Brought into one of the most famous clubs in football. And didn't hit the ground running as much as you'd like to. Found yourself subject to the bench. Not getting your opportunities. Wondering, have I made a mistake in coming to this football club? All those things were probably going through his head. His manager gets sacked. He doesn't get back in straight away. But he starts doing an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, scoring big goals off the bench. He gets put in the starting 11. We go down 1-0 to Crystal Palace. He's there to get the winner. Like, you cannot buy that confidence when it's put into you. It's something that is worth its weight in gold. There's no money that you can pay for getting goals and scoring goals. I don't know if you remember all those years ago. Rashford was flying through the Golden Boot. He was leading lines. But when you looked at Manchester United Football Club, there was Rashford's goals that were up there in the 20s, heading for 30. And the next one was in single digits. And we were always wondering, what happens if those goals dry up? This year, Mbeumo's getting goals.
Yeah.
Bruno's getting goals. Šeško's getting goals. Cunha's getting goals. And then we have the likes of Cass, Maguire, De Ligt when he was fit. all getting goals. The goals were coming from multiple places, and if one wasn't scoring, you were kind of going, well, he'll be back, but this guy's going to score.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this current like squad. You know, in terms of transfer window, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, it's been a very, very good transfer window. You know, the signings that we've made, you've just listed them off: Cunha and Bumo, Shesko, and then Bruno. Anyway, the conductor, always creating chances. I saw it earlier. He's the leading chance creator in the league by like 30 chances. Whatever metric that system was used on, it was used on all the players, so it doesn't really matter. He's still 30 ahead. Goals ain't an issue, and it's always been chance creation that's been the issue. So I'd like to assume that we are creating more chances for our forward line, and with that, I think Shesko, being the type of striker he is, you know, he's quick. He can turn. You know, he's not immobile. You know, there's certain players that are that tall that can't move. He's got it all, and I think the heading technique that he's got, it's incredible. He just needs to work on a few more inches to the left, a few more inches to the right, and I think you know, I expect 15 goals from him this season if obviously he still keeps getting the game time and the chances still being put on a plate for him.
I'm going to ask the question that I think is a good one to finish up on.
Yeah.
With the amount of volume of ball that goes through Bruno, he should be at the top of the stats. But if you're kind of the players that have to kind of make the best of getting those chances, is there better in the Premier League, is the question I'm going to ask you, that can kind of create those chances with far less of the football and with the ball going through multiple mouths?
But is there better than Bruno?
Yeah.
No. As soon as De Bruyne left, that mantle became Bruno. Again, I think there's fools that are hating on Bruno. Honestly, if he was there, wasn't there, we would notice. We would absolutely notice. So he has to stay. I know there's going to be talk about it that's going to heat up a little bit closer to the World Cup, and after the World Cup, you know, he said he's going to make his decision. We have to do everything possible to try and keep him. He's a chance magnet. He's magnifico. He's our captain. Yeah, and he scores goals. You know, he scores goals as well. So he's not just an assister. He scores goals. So I wouldn't change him for the world.
I'm just going to ask one more question because Stephanie's comment intrigued me. The current goal status of Manchester United Football Club: Mbumo 9, Sesko 8, Bruno 7, Cunha 6, Casemiro 5, Mount 3, Dorgood 3, Ahmed 2, Xerxes 2, Maguire, Delict, Dallo all in 1 or 2. When you think back to Premier League winning campaigns, and I mentioned this in regards to Arsenal, there was always somebody that was at the top of the goals assist column in the Premier League that's driving you to that Premier League win. Currently, none of the Arsenal players are in the top 5. But looking at those goals specifically, when you think back to Ruud van Nistelrooy, Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, Robin van Persie, we were looking to hit north of 20 goals with one of those strikers, season in, season out. This season aside, would you be hoping for 1 or 2 of those to kind of breach that 20 barrier next season?
What of our front line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hope it be Shesko, him being the main guy up top, you know, then closely followed by Mbumo. You know, Mbumo's not really done it. You know, he hit those figures, but he had a lot of penalties for Brentford. So he's a goal scorer. You know, he's not a creator. He's mainly a goal scorer. But yeah, Shesko, he's not shown it before. So obviously we're asking him to do something he's not done in lesser leagues. So we might be asking a lot. But in terms of Premier League titles, if we want to be looking for that, then we need a 20 goal a season Premier League type of striker, or at least someone that's going to be putting him in. It doesn't matter. Could be from the left, it could be from the right, could be from the 10 position. But a 20 goal marksman, it has to be. It has to be. I don't think history suggests otherwise, unless this season Arsenal do it via corners. But yeah.
Well, own goals is their top scorer, isn't it?
OG, bloody hell. But yeah, I what about you? Do you think we've got it in the squad, someone to be a 20 goal person?
I'm going to put in the caveat because obviously Bruno has been the playmaker, and obviously if we have to replace that, it's going to hurt next season. It might slow down the progression, but like in reality, regardless of who's in, whether it's going to be Dorgu, Cunha, Sesko, Mbumo, or Ahmed, that's going to be occupying the starting three, or possibly a second striker that we might bring in to replace Joshua Zirkzee from the bench as well. We may end up doing that. Who knows? You're probably going to want to be seeing between all those players, the three starters and the three that come in behind, north of 50 goals, really, won't you? Whether it's between assists and goals, you're going to want to be getting north of 50 between those 6 players.
Yeah. I think we will. I think it's possible. I definitely do. But as you say, that Xerxes replacement, more reinforcements will just bring more and more competition. And I think we'll thrive. I definitely think we'll thrive. But hopefully when we get Champions League, when we're there, I hope you agree with that, don't you? I feel like I'm saying it. Champions League football. Are you saying we've got it?
It would take a monumental disaster for us not to be in Champions League next year. I don't think Villa are actually going to make it. I think Liverpool and Chelsea both jump them. Unless, and I'm going to put the big caveat in there, that Villa go out of their European competition in an unexpected phase. Then I think there could be a dogfight between Villa and one of Liverpool or Chelsea. It won't be us. There's going to be key games. We obviously have to play the 3 of them, as far as I know, between now and the end of the season. Liverpool have to play the 3 of them, definitely. So there is games against head-to-head games between those clubs between now and the end of the season. I don't see a reality where we're not in Champions League football. And I think I even said at one point there a couple of weeks ago, within 7 of Arsenal by the end of the season.
Jeez. Wow. And to be honest, I've been saying geez, wow. I think I agree with you. I think, yeah, we've said it for ages, haven't we? I think all these teams are going to be taking points off of each other. And our running's not too bad. You know, technically on paper, you might say Newcastle on Wednesday is a tough game. Right now, I don't think it is. But we'll save that for the preview tomorrow, of course. People, it's been a pleasure as always. The aftermath, we will wrap it up there. We will be doing the preview tomorrow for the Newcastle game. So be there or be square. Again, if you've not done so already, please smash the likes. We really do appreciate it. It does support the channel. And if you're new, smash the subscribe button as well. Rebel, any last words before we go?
Just 2 brief messages. Can we get happy birthday, Mr. B, flooding the chat? Number 1, please. And number 2, obviously, tomorrow's going to be a scouting mission where we look at where Bruno Camires, Sandro Tonali, or say Hall could fit in at Manchester United Football Club. We've obviously had Wharton do his audition at the weekend. We had Anderson there a couple of weeks ago do his audition. So we will be back in the Man United agenda, and we'll be hearing that glorious team tune next season. That is not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
As a famous wise man oracle would say. But yeah, we've been the Man United agenda. People, take it easy, and good night. Good night.
glory, glory.